Hey guys, back with another video. I'm gonna try something that might be a bit annoying, but I'm gonna try it anyway. For any of you guys who have seen my other videos, you've known that I've been having issues with the screen freezing, and this is the fourth attempt that I'm trying to do on this particular video. I've tried changing the resolution and things like that to see if it'll improve the quality and if it'll stop the freezing, but it hasn't. So I've noticed that when I've been testing it, if certain parts of the video, for example, like when I'm scrolling through sorting inventory and stuff, that tends to freeze things. So when I do that, I'm going to just click out of the app like this and then go back into it. That seems to solve the issue, at least temporarily. So I may do that periodically throughout the video, just a heads up, and I apologize if that's annoying, but I figure it's better than dealing with the freezing, and it's certainly preferable for me because I've spent like an hour and a half trying to get one of these videos, doing this video over and over again, trying to get it to work, and I haven't had any success. So I'm going to do some videos about the Japanese version. I've had a lot of requests for help with navigating some more complicated aspects of the game, particularly friends list, quests, setting up parties, and things like that. So I thought I'd break it into different parts and walk you guys through some of the content just to help you gain a better understanding of some of the unique Japan content. Now, I will say ahead of time that I'm not going to do a lot of direct translation or anything like that. I highly recommend that those of you who are serious about investing time into the game, especially if you're investing money into the game, that you take the time to learn at least the basic characters for the elements like fire and wind and water and those, just to help you, figure out what you're working with in terms of the orbs and the spells and the orbs like dark and holy and ones like that. Just try to work on those. It's you're looking at maybe 10 or so, maybe a dozen kanji. It shouldn't be too hard to make a list of those for yourselves and work through those. And then just basic katakana, which is the characters that they use for words like fire raga and protect ga, and a lot of the spell names and the world, like world and the character names and stuff like that. That's all katakana. I recommend that you at least familiarize yourself with some of the basic characters just to help you see patterns. You don't really need to be able to read it, but just enough to help you know that what fu looks like, so it's fire raga, and so what ga looks like, so if it's a ga spell or a ra spell. Those kind of things will help you out tremendously. And then it makes things easier on me because I don't have to worry about translating things directly. I can leave that to you guys, and you guys can kind of have that ease of navigation by just investing a little bit of extra time up front learning that stuff. So with that out of the way, we'll get into this. So this is setting up your profile and your friends. So the third button down here is your profile. The fourth button down is your friends. So I'll go into the profile. Come on. Load it up. Okay. So here you can change your name at the top if you want to. That'll just, be what shows up on their friends list. You can write a comment if you want. I'm not sure if you can do it in English. I think I tried once and it was rejected. I think you have to write it in Japanese, but it's really not important. There's a default one that you always have. And, the only thing I wrote is just Lunatic High and Selfies AoE Heal are my main ones. That just kind of helps my friends when they look at the friends list what to expect from me. So it's not really even necessary. And then you see you have your supporter, If you want to change your supporter, which I'll do here, you'll click here on supporter change, and up here, and change your supporter. So I'll change to Red 13. One note, real quick, you'll see that I have her sword and her armor, and I haven't equipped an accessory, but I should. If you have a friend who's damage based or magic based or some sort of damage, anything that's a multiplier base, whether that be a heal or anything like that, you'll want to equip as much gear on them as possible, because that will up the amount that they do damage or heals for, and that's obviously better for your friends. They'll appreciate that, and it'll make you a stronger support for them. Ones like Red 13, who I'm going to change to here. You don't need, because it's haste and protect aren't based on anything. You don't need to equip any extra equipment other than just their relic, because even if you have more attack or more magic or whatever, it's just a buff, and that won't affect. It's not affected by stats at all. So you don't go faster, you don't get a higher defense multiplier for having more magic or whatever. It's just a predetermined amount, so all you have to do, really, if you don't want to bother, just equip the accessory. You don't need the other stuff. So, click supporter up here, and then you'll choose who you want, then you can set up the relic just like you would in the inventory. Here you can change what their soul break is. If you want to use something else, I'm just going to tab out real quick, just so. And that's setting up your supporter. So now I have Red 13, and then this button down here is just copy, which is your friend ID here to the left. So that's if people want to follow you or add you, you would provide them with this code and they can search for you. So friends, so you have friends list, friends search, which is what I just mentioned. You can use somebody's code to search for them and follow them. And then this one, invite a friend. I've mentioned this in another video. I'll just touch on it quickly here. You can invite people through different media, so Line or Facebook or Twitter or something like that. And it's basically, you copy this text with a link in it, you send it to the person. If they click on the link, download the game, and then complete the tutorial, they get a mithril and you get a mithril. Sometimes they have campaigns where you get double mithril, so you'll get 2 each. This would be good if you have friends that like real life friends, or even just people in some of the record keeper communities who are going to start the Japanese version. There's no reason not to use this if you know that somebody's going to join, because you both get a free mithril. So there's really no reason not to. I mean, maybe it's a hassle. If it's not worth the hassle, don't worry about it. But it is extra mithril, and we can use all the mithril we can get. So up here, top, the friends list. So you have the people that you're following, and on the right is the followers. So it basically works like Twitter. So you'll see here that I have you have Saz and you have Tyro, and you'll see here on the right side of the screen on their respective little boxes, the symbols are different. So this top one here, this kind of circular arrows, means that we're following each other. So he followed me first, and then I added him afterwards. But here under Tyro, he's following me, but I'm not following him. So what this button means is I have the option now to follow him. So if I decide that I want to have this ability, I'll click follow, and now I'm following him as well. Okay, and if you decide, actually I don't need this, I don't really want this person on my friends list, you click on their portrait, and then you click down here, which is remove, and you can remove them. So this is nice if you want to trim down your friends list, or just kind of get rid of, friends who aren't very useful anymore. I'm going to tab out again real quick. Sorry, but the only way I found of avoiding the freezing frames. So back to this. So the way the friends work is when you go to enter a dungeon, it randomizes from both your friends list and other players who aren't on your friends list to give you an opportunity to find new friends to add. Now, one problem with this is if you're going into a dungeon and you really, really need Saz, or you really, really need Tyro, Sentinel, Grimoire, if you have kind of a really scattered friends list, what'll happen is neither of those will be available on the friends list. Sorry about that. One way to avoid this is by basically going through the people that you're following, the people on your friends list, and removing everybody but the soul breaks that you really want to use. So almost all the time in all the elite dungeons, I use either Saz, Red 13, or the Sentinel Grimoire. So I have I would say probably about 75% of my friends are one of those three. So almost every elite dungeon that I go to, when it gives me a randomized friends list, I have so many of those available that they're almost always available to me in every elite dungeon that I go to. That's one way to ensure that you'll get what you want when you go into a dungeon. An alternative to that, which is not as good, and I don't really recommend, but I'll go ahead and mention it, is if you do want a variety of soul breaks available to you, you can go ahead and do that. And then if you go to enter a dungeon and you don't get the one you want, all you have to do is just go into any dungeon and enter any battle. And just by entering the battle, it refreshes your friends list. So if you're trying to do an elite dungeon, you don't get the soul break that you want, just back out, go into the daily dungeon or something like that, enter a battle for 3 stamina. You don't even have to complete the battle. You can simply exit the battle, immediately exit the dungeon, and that will refresh your friends list and you can try again. The problem with this approach is you end up having to waste a lot of stamina that way if you don't get what you want after a couple times. So before I basically cleared out my friends list and just re-added people, like I said, specifically for the soul breaks that I wanted. But before that, I would sometimes have to use 20 or even 30 stamina, just constantly going, okay, I didn't get the friend that I want again. Okay, I'll try again. And I would just have to do that 6, 7 times to try to get the soul break that I wanted, and it was frustrating. And that's an hour's worth of stamina. It's not as bad when you have 130, but still, you want to make your stamina count. So I don't recommend that, but that is one other option to do. But the way I recommend is that you simply just, again, click on their portrait, and then just click to remove them and only add people that you want. That's it for this one. To quests next, and I'll do party setups and other things as well. So again, thank you for bearing with me while I try to work through my video problems, and I hope that this was helpful. And if you have any specific requests for other aspects of the game besides the quests and setting up parties and things like that, if you have any other specific problems with the game, navigating the game, or translations or language issues, please leave a comment letting me know what other stuff you'd like to see, and I'll try to make videos for those as well. Really hope that this worked out, and I'll see you guys in part 2. Thanks a lot.